Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Sanch here. Welcome back to the Bodybuilding News Network, recapping the day one of the 2024 Mr. Olympia after the press conference. Currently going through the Meet the Olympians. Looks like we have Chris Cormier on stage right now. But some of the things I wanted to highlight specifically are some footages, some things that RX Muscle has put out from that meet and greet, as well as the most recent physique updates of a couple men's open Olympian competitors getting ready for prejudging tomorrow evening. So if you're interested in something like that, definitely stay tuned. But let's go ahead and start off with the first most recent thing we've seen from this athlete meet and greet. And as I did allude to it just a second ago, it is from RX Muscle, highlighting some wheel updates from none other than Martin the Martian Fitzwater over at the Hostile booth at the Meet the Olympians Expo thing. And from what we can see here, this is definitely going to be a move in the right direction for Martin, as I do have him. Looks like the zoom won't help at all here, but as I do have Martin in my top, where did I put Martin? I think I put him in the 6. I put Martin Fitzwater in my top 6 for this year's Mr. Olympia. A very bold prediction for him, but I think looking at his physique, he's definitely in the possibility of placing there. But definitely let me know your guys' thoughts on Martin coming into this Olympia prep. I think he looks phenomenal. His physique is definitely speaking for someone who could be placing very well. And for his first Mr. Olympia in the men's open bodybuilding, I think he's definitely setting himself up for success here. But definitely let me know your thoughts on how Martin Fitzwater looks coming into this Mr. Olympia prep. Another athlete getting ready for the men's open is going to be Brandon Curry, our good friend Daniel over at Bodybuilders Without Borders, sharing some physique updates. Or actually, it looks like it's buys and tries. I do apologize. Buys and tries, sharing a physique update courtesy of Brandon Curry's clothing sponsor, Gorilla Wear, showing off some shoulders and some arms here. And from what we can see here, this is pretty standard for what Brandon Curry brings to the stage in terms of conditioning, in terms of freakiness. The delts look pretty solid. Not a lot of detail. Not a lot of... You can see the feathering, but it's not like a kind of physique where you can reach in there and like grab in between the ridges of the delts. Ian Valier, I remember when I interviewed him back in 2020, you could actually feel the delts. And that's just not the kind of 3D action we're getting here from Brandon Curry. The arms are very similar to what we see normally, but you've heard my critiques over the years. You probably watched my top 10 breakdown and prediction for the men's open just a few minutes ago, so make sure you guys are watching that video. But when I look at this, you're not seeing the legs. You're not seeing the lower back. Those are all the areas, the glutes. Those are all the areas that Brandon Curry gets knocked for, yet still placed top 4 last year, which is insanity. So when we look at this, it just doesn't make sense to me. This is a very standard physique update from him. I am not wavering at all in my prediction for Brandon Curry. I think he's going to place around 8th or 9th this year. He's probably going to fall behind some of these other more exciting athletes like Akeem Williams and other people like who I have in 7th, Hunter Labrada. So those are some of the guys I think that are going to beat out Brandon Curry this year. Can't say I'm too excited about his physique update, of course. Let me know your thoughts on Brandon Curry in the comment sections below. Now, I did want to talk about, I'll save him till the very end, but we will talk about Samson in just a second here. Next up, I wanted to talk about John Jewett coming into this Olympia prep. And we've seen a lot of physique updates from John. He looks great. He brings a lot of density to the stage that some of these other competitors have more symmetry, more streamlined looking physiques, but John has a nice freak factor that we don't usually get to see a lot of. Very dense, somewhat short, very thick, very wide, a lot of great conditioning. This guy's known for being great at training, so he's been able to put together a very complete body where nothing's really missing, or at least he has flaws, but there's nothing glaring that he's missing. Sure, we'd like a little bit more midsection. Sure, we'd like a little bit more chest in the front double, but overall, I think he looks phenomenal. He's definitely should be in the conversation for a top 10, but we have a very, very impressive top 10 this year, and I think John's going to be around that 11, 12 this year, followed closely by another guy whose name is also John. John Delosa is the next gentleman we're going to talk about just briefly, sharing another physique update for us in the doorway here, which does look like a good look for him. Definitely helps with the structure, the flow of the physique. But I will say this is not what I was hoping to see from John this close to the show. I thought we'd get to see a little bit more conditioning, a little bit more of the transition shots. This is 4 hours ago, so we really hope to see more from him. This definitely is making me wonder how ready he's going to be for this Olympia. Definitely going to be outside the top 10 for my picks. Maybe other people are seeing things that I'm not seeing here, but definitely could see John Delosa sneaking in that 11 to 12, battling it out right next to John Jewett at this Olympia contest. And last, but certainly not least, RX Muscle sharing another great footage of the one and only Samson Dauda, as he is doing a posing routine at the, what you want to call it, the press conference. And this was essentially the only exciting thing we saw here. No one was willing to talk. No one was willing to say anything exciting. No one was going to do any pose downs with him. Everyone was very much, I would say, scared to hurt their stock coming into prejudging tomorrow. All of them wanting to keep the shock factor. And I would say that the only reason Brandon should have got up there, that guy has no chance of placing in the top 4. He should have been up there competing and posing down with Samson Dauda. Samson, I would say, by doing this, kind of speaks that he's going to be in that 3rd to 4th place conversation. Obviously, he's going to have a little bit more time to peak tomorrow. He did look a little flat, not as shredded, not as detailed as we'd like to see, but he does look absolutely phenomenal, and I think he is clearly a top 4 physique in the world for the men's Mr. Olympia title. Again, I don't know why Brandon Curry didn't take off his top there. It would have been a perfect opportunity for him to be like, hey, this is what I look like at 100%. This is, we're here to battle. That would have been a statement that he could have done, and instead he did nothing. So pretty disappointed in that, but big shout out to Samson for, having the cojones to take the shirt off, do a pose down with the other guys. I thought it was a great move from him. It was a great representation of what this press conference used to be and how it is dying and not as exciting as it has been in previous years, specifically around 2020 is where it kind of died off. So I already made a video highlighting the press conference and my takeaways and how they can improve that. So definitely check that video out. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching another episode here on the Bodybuilding News Network. Shout out to Dragon Pharma for sponsoring our other show, The Monday Morning Muscle, hosted by Tony O'Burton. And if you want to check that out, make sure you do. But thanks for watching here on the Bodybuilding News Network. I'm your host and producer, Josh Sanch. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.